Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think when it comes to low-level crimes, the aim should always be first to rehabilitate. That's not to say that we shouldn't be tough on crime, but it's to say that for people that can be rehabilitated into society, I think there should be efforts for them to be rehabilitated. My issue is, I think that our current justice system has a bit of a broad brush approach. I think that, say, sex offenders, for example, particularly those that abuse children, rapists, I feel like a lot of the time they're actually given the same sort of sentences as someone who's done a bit of petty theft. And then when you actually look and they're to find a job, when you initially do the DBS check, you can't actually see if that person is on the sex offenders register. And especially for crimes involving children, I think even for the quick DBS checks, the first thing you should see is if someone is on the sex offenders register, not if they've done something like robbed something without actually hurting anyone. And I think that is the real weirdness of it. And even here, I have an example. This one guy is over 18, but this paedophile's from Staffordshire, and this is in February. He was given an 18-month suspended sentence for inappropriately touching a 12-year-old girl, and he's 52. Suspended sentence. There was another one in 2011, a teenager who was 16 at the time, sexually abused a girl under 10 years old at the time, and he was also given a suspended sentence. So when it says in here, minor crimes such as suspended sentences, sometimes it's not always so minor. And I think we should have a two-tiered system, one where low-level criminals are treated with compassion sometimes, and another where the really depraved, sick people are punished.
Fair enough. Just to point out, by the way, that the whole kind of vetting system, it was toughened after, and I can't believe I'm about to say this date because I can't believe it's so long ago, but 2002, the Soham murders. Do you remember that? Ian Huntley, of course. Yeah, I will never forget that crime.
Those are the kind of people I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't believe that was in 2002, by the way. You will remember that he got the job, didn't you? As the school caretaker I'm referring, of course, to the murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. Do you remember that? The two little girls. The image that stands in my mind about that is they had their little, was it Man United shirts on, if I remember rightly? Anyway, the point was, Ian Huntley, he'd been reported to the police on 6 occasions over sexual assaults on underage girls and then was cleared to go and work at that school. So that's why I think the system was tightened back after that. But Jeevan...
Yeah, of course, it was right. The system was tightened. I think invariably with these things, the pendulum swings one way and then we start to figure out, OK, maybe there's some issues there because certainly you'd want the net tight enough that someone like Ian Huntley was not going to get through. And now we're looking to actually it's catching some people it shouldn't catch. So I think there's like a broad agreement here that actually non-violent offenders, especially when it's 40 years ago, shouldn't be stopped from having alternative economic opportunities. And of course, why is one of the reasons people do commit crimes like theft actually is also a lack of economic opportunities. So certainly there is a role there to rehabilitate and reform people.
But you said non-violent, by the way. So what about if someone... I don't know, you're 50 now, and when you were 19, you got involved in a fight in a pub and you got charged. You say non-violent should basically be kind of forgotten. But what about if you had a violent conviction like that? You know, you're 19 and all the rest of it. You wouldn't want to carry that forward anyway, would you?
I suppose that'd have to be a question for like a judge in the same way as is for a parole board. You know, a parole board sits there and says who should or shouldn't be released from prison. I think you'd end up with having the same kind of system, right? Unless you can see and hear and speak to this person. I'm not really sure exactly what would happen in that case. I was thinking like someone like Timpson, for example, do great work